I honestly can't believe that this archetype slipped past my radar. Yes, this is the Doriado archetype, which was used by Bakura in the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, and the only card from said archetype that he used does not even contain Doriado in its name, so yeah, freaking hilarious. And said monster which he used is also one of the fusion materials for Musician King, which was used by that other dancing dude from a filler episode, which I can't remember anything about except that he summoned that rare, pretty good at the time instant fusion target for spellcasters, and that's about it. So anyway, this archetype consists of 6 cards, and yeah, let's blaze through this, shall we? And we start off with the level 4 Earth Normal monster, simply named Doriado, which is the poster girl for this archetype, on which the entire archetype revolves around in triple quotation marks there. And as you can see, this gal hasn't been imported to the TCG yet for some reason. But yet she managed to spawn a whole boatload of cards, so that's exactly why we have this archetype analysis here. So let's just move on. Lady of Faith is the first monster I would have looked at, considering it's a lower level than the original Doriado, and it's the actual monster that Bakura used in his one duel in his first duel against a Tem, and the card was never used or heard from again. So let's just move on. We have our first effect monster next, which is also the first pendulum monster, the first and only pendulum monster of the archetype, Dark Doriado. And this one is also a level 4, just like the original Doriado, but has 600 more attack than the original Doriado, and it's a scale 5 with the pendulum effect that all earth, water, fire, and wind monsters you control gain 200 attack and defense for every different attribute among monsters you control. And its monster effect says that if this card is normal or special summoned, you can choose 4 monsters from your deck, 1 earth, 1 water, 1 fire, and 1 wind, then place them on the top of the deck in any order. Well, it doesn't seem like nothing too amazing, I guess, and that will be because it is, but I absolutely don't know how to say this, but this is actually their best monster. Well, their second best monster if you are willing to put up with a certain low-statted other monster, but which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, it was even included in the Charmer structure deck, if I recall correctly, as the only pendulum monster of the archetype, meaning the archetype has, the only pendulum monster in the deck, meaning that the deck has absolutely no ways of retrieving it once it goes face up in the extra deck. But yeah, now we somewhat see the gimmick of the archetype, which is being revolved around different attributes and gaining effects that way. And, well, yeah, like I said, these cards aren't primarily meant to be played with one another because the lack of any searching or consistency or theming behind them. So, yeah, anyway, if you really have some utility with some fire, earth, water, and wind monsters, I guess teching in Dark Doriado can occasionally turn a few duels around, which in most cases I imagine is going to be pretty rare. But anyway, next monster we have their final effect monster, their final Pringle, as Rada would say, and that is Elemental Grace Doriado, which is a level 9 monster with 0 attack and defense and cannot be normal summoned or set, and must first be special summoned from your hand by having 6 or more monsters with different attributes in the graveyards. Gains attack and defense equal to the number of different attributes in the graveyards times 500, and when your opponent would special summon a monster, quick effect, you can banish 3 monsters from your graveyard, negate the summon, and if you do, destroy that monster. Okay, so that summon prevention effect is actually decently strong, given it's not a once per turn effect. However, this thing's summoning condition is completely and utterly asinine because there are rarely decks that employ having all of the 6 main attributes in their engine, because I highly doubt that you're going to be running the Egyptian god cards, well, except maybe for raw sphere mode, but that's another pair of shoes. Thankfully, it counts the opponent's graveyard as well, because that's the only saving grace for this card. So yeah, I guess if you manage to summon it, it's a pretty decent lockout against special summon heavy decks, even though the cost can be somewhat tricky since it requires you to manage 3 monsters. I don't know, but maybe. Again, I'm trying to be as positive sounding as possible with this, but anyway, their absolute best monster is a level 3 ritual monster of all things, Elemental Mistress Doriado, which, like I said, is a level 3 ritual monster with the exact same stats as the original Doriado, but it's a ritual monster this time and it's 1 level lower, and it can only be ritual summoned with the ritual spell Doriado's Blessing, and its only effect is that its attribute is also wind, fire, water, and earth while face up on the field. So yeah, meaning the only attributes besides divine, meaning that the only attribute that it isn't is dark attribute, which I guess proves useful with some other cards or effects, such as maybe Elemental Hero Electrum, or allowing you to activate cards such as Furin Kazan. So yeah, stuff like that, cosmetic stuff like that. And if you're wondering about the ritual spell, Doriado's Blessing is just a by the numbers ritual spell, so I won't waste any more time here, and it's also the final card of this archetype. So yeah, Elemental Mistress Doriado has some niche uses, but it's far from a competitive card unless something super good comes out where having multiple attributes is relevant to the opponent. But I guess you can make some pretty hilariously funny gimmick decks by employing Clear World and giving this thing to your opponent in order for him to suffer the negative effects of Clear World. I don't know, maybe. Well, anyway, I'm not gonna grade this because this is barely even a tech archetype, if even a proper archetype itself. Well, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wiki lists it as an archetype, so I guess I will in my heart as well. So anyway, this was a quick little video I wanted to do because, yeah, I just learned of this little series of cards myself, and I wanted to have another video present on the channel because the deck profile that I announced is still some time away, because I'm still waiting for 2 cards for the deck to be fully complete and so I can showcase it to you. So anyway, I wanted to fill the gap with this, I guess. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos and updates. Comment, like, and subscribe. Be sure to check out my Patreon when you got the time. Maybe drop a few donations if you feel like it. And as usual, I'll upload the next vid whenever I can. So see you all and have a good day. Peace.